I go by usually the philosophy of a good design is not when there's nothing left to put, but when there's nothing left to remove. I work with minimalism and I try to capture a person's likeness and common expression with minimum amount of strokes and colors. And that's what makes it challenging, and that's what makes it difficult even for people to imitate.
Hello everyone, welcome to this new episode of Pepper Spotlight. My name is Pawan Rochwani, and if you are active on Instagram and are fond of caricatures or that kind of personalized style of sketches or design, I'm very sure you must have heard or seen Prasad Bhat's content. He also recently started doing stand-up comedy, so maybe you might have stumbled upon any of his YouTube videos about some comedy gigs that he has been doing lately. But in this conversation, we are diving deep with him about how it is to be an artist in India. What are some of the challenges that a creator or an artist in general faces while they are navigating this very complex Indian art ecosystem in their journey, and how has his journey been, and what would be some tips and tricks that he would want to share with each one of you who's listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or watching this on YouTube. If you like this conversation, please share it across with other artists, other creators. And if you have any suggestions or recommendations for us, just feel free to DM us directly on Instagram. We are at the rate pepper underscore content. We also have a very superb newsletter. And this is not me saying, this is hundreds of our subscribers saying that Pepper Shots is one of the best newsletters that they read every week. The link is in the description of this episode. Please go ahead and just check that out. But let's get into this conversation where I'm speaking with Prasad Bhat. Thank you so much, Prasad, for being on Pepper Spotlight today. We are very, very thrilled to have you on
My
this.
pleasure.
It's going to be very interesting to know your takes about a lot of things that are happening in the content space. And I think anybody
Okay.
who's there on Instagram or on the internet can, immediately know, okay, this design or this character is made by Prasad. And I'm really,
Yeah.
really interested to know your entire journey. And also, let's say, why don't we start with you telling our audience what Graphicurry is and how you have built what you are today.
Uh, so, a quick introduction. My name is Prasad. First of all, thanks for having me, Pawan. So, I've been making art for the last 13 years now. I'm mainly known for my unique style of capturing people's faces. I'm very obsessed with how every human looks different, and I like to capture it in my own specific style. And I go by usually the philosophy of a good design is not when there's nothing left to put, but when there's nothing left to remove. I work with minimalism and I try to capture a person's likeness and common expression with minimum amount of strokes and colors. And that's what makes it challenging, and that's what makes it difficult even for people to imitate. So uh, I've been doing it for 13 years. I've worked with clients like Amazon, Hotstar, Disney, and I've exhibited in Kalagoda, which is one of the biggest festivals that happen in India, or you can say second biggest in Asia. And they made an exception of having me thrice. Usually, it's only once. You get only one chance, but they like my work so much that they decided to have me three times, and it was one of the greatest life events. And yeah, I'm now an NFT artist. I'm not sure if many people know it's non-fungible token. I've been putting my work up, and I've sold about 28 NFTs, and it's been just 5 months, and it's been great. So how it all started? I mean, I did engineering like everybody else in Bangalore. Mainly because parents were apprehensive, and I think Indian parents are usually apprehensive, and I understand why, because now I have a kid and I don't want him to be an artist because I know how difficult the life is and it's very uncertain. And if your kid doesn't do a good job, then he eats into your FD. So I didn't want that. So I guess my parents also didn't want that. But it's not like they weren't supportive. They told me if you want to be an artist, we can look at Chitrakala Parishad,
Yeah.
Srishtis, and they took me to those colleges also. But I could get that vibe that they weren't okay with it. And more than that, it was peer pressure, not just for them, even for me, because all your cousins, eh, everybody around you is doing what everybody is doing, that is
Yeah.
engineering and trying to secure their future.
Yeah.
Um, so I decided to go that way because I couldn't stand up for myself. And most kids can't when they're that young. They're like 16,
Yeah.
17. They can't stand up for themselves. So I did my engineering, and that was difficult because uh, I'm dyslexic as well. So it was like watching Inception in Chinese. Those 4 years, it was very difficult, but I somehow managed. I didn't. I wasn't a bad student. I got like 70% aggregate, and but luckily I didn't get a job uh, for some good or bad reason. I didn't get the job. I didn't get through any interviews, and my girlfriend broke up with me. My parents were going through a divorce. So all those things, all those tough hardships that you face in life, sometimes pushes you to do that one thing that you're probably good at. And art was one of them. It was like a healing process, and eventually it became a profession. So it was something that was supposed meant to happen. It's not like something that I chose. It was the only thing left. It was the only choice I had. So I took that up, and yeah, here I am after 13 years of. So 13 years is Graphicurry, but before that I was a designer, and that's how my style differentiates with most people because I use designers' tools to make art. And then, yes, I started getting a little bored. I tend to get bored very easily. And once I found my style, once anybody finds their own voice and style, your audience that accepts you for that style boxes you in that style. They
Mm.
box you, they expect you to do things within that. So I wanted to have my own creative outlet. So you need to balance that out because eventually you are going to get a little um, bored of yourself.
Yeah.
It's sort of like how can I say? It's like Eagles playing Hotel California.
Yeah.
They have to play that song every time they go on stage, and it's
Yeah.
become their hell. You know, they it's like you create your own circle of hell, and then you have to do that for your audience, but you have to find ways to have your own creative outlet. So
Tell me
I
about where did you learn design, or let's say that creativity and that style or the art in you. Where did that come from, or did you learn? Because I'm
I
thinking
learned,
10 years,
yeah.
13 years back, there was no Skillshare, YouTube, or all of these things to
No,
really get.
YouTube was there. I learned a lot on the internet and on YouTube, and I always was in search of my own voice. I think that's important. I think it's important to keep looking for it, you know. And luckily, through all the fiddling and just experimenting, I stumbled upon the style, and people seem to like it. I have worked on various different styles, and this is the one that worked. And yeah, In your life, you will have one or two really good ideas, and you have to stick by it and go with that, and then find other ways to keep yourself creatively satisfied. So stand up was one of them, and to be honest, it made me more anxious and depressed more than anything, which is which is bizarre, because stand up is supposed to comedy is supposed to make you happy, but it
Yeah.
actually doesn't. Yeah, it's a very hostile environment. I used to play in a band, and there were like 4 or 5 members, and backstage was never this intimidating like how it is in stand up. Stand up, each person is a competition. That's how at least it works in India to a
Mm.
large extent. Not everybody is going to be friendly with you, and every person is on a lookout for themselves.
Yeah.
So it becomes much more difficult.
Yeah.
Whereas in music, you have your band members who feel the same way as you do, and you have some to help you if you're feeling different or otherwise, or you can talk. But you can't do that in comedy. It's very difficult. At least I
Yeah.
couldn't find the right people, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, uh, it's
I'm gonna ask you a little philosophical
yeah,
question.
yeah.
When
Please,
when you say you really like in life you will get one or two ideas and you really have to stick to it and
yeah,
you just have to listen to yourself and all of those things.
yeah,
But when there's so much chaos around you, right? I mean, let's for example, when you were doing engineering or your family
yeah,
was not at their best, or
yeah,
everything else that you were doing, when
yeah,
everything around you is a little chaotic and not like in
yeah.
order, how do you really find the strength to listen to what your mind is saying, what your head
Oh
is saying?
well, usually, you know, art comes from a very, you know, for some people it comes from a positive place. For some people, it's an escape, and it's a healing process. So for me, it was that. It was a way to escape from all the miserable things that were happening around me. And yes, you just got to use it and channel it. So if you have things that have happened in your life which brings you down, I think you can definitely use art to sort of heal yourself, to forget, and to maybe escape that reality. And that has helped various great phenomenal artists.
Yeah.
Most of the big ones like Michael Jackson, Rihanna, or whoever you see, they come from very tough backgrounds. They have managed to get out of get out of that through their expression, the way they
Yeah.
expressed in art.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if it's up to you, if you are the kinds who keep obsessing over what's happening, and
Yeah.
then you you're going to become that person, or you can help yourself by channeling that by making something beautiful.
Yeah.
So
Taking something from what you were saying about your journey in the beginning of this conversation, why do you think it's difficult to be a full-time artist in India? Like when you were referring about uh, you don't want your kid to be an artist. Why do you think in
big
India it's difficult to be a full-time
uh,
artist?
so I when I was 24, 25, I was like, I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to be. I was really naive to feel that, because I just turned out. There's a lot of luck, and it's a gamble for you to actually make it an art in India. It's a huge gamble. There are lots of people trying. So I just got lucky, and not everybody gets. You know, I mean, we only see movies where they show this guy like Gully Boy or whatever it is, who, you know, wins a competition or success. But there are millions of other people trying who don't succeed. So keeping that in mind, you have to have the right expectations when you decide to be an artist. You should know what you're getting into. You should
Mm.
know that the government is not going to help you if tomorrow things go downhill. There is no allowance in a country like how it's in America or other places. There are no benefits, so you have to obviously worry about your secure your future. And I have done things. I've done projects which bring food on the table and which puts bread on the table, as they say. And then things that I don't like doing. So you have to do those things. You know,
Is this because of the pandemic you are saying, or no? This is irrespective before pandemic. Or...
irrespective, it's like doing stand-up comedy corporate gigs where you can't say the F word, you can't express yourself, you can't say the truth, you can't talk about politics, you can only make fun of yourself and within limits. So you have to do things like that don't necessarily make you feel good, and you know, so that you can sustain doing the things that you want to, and then
Mm.
eventually hope that people pay for the thing that you really want to do and continue doing that.
Mm.
So I think, yeah, it's difficult in India for these reasons because you know it's a lot more secure. I mean, the security is not there. You don't have insurance. You don't have so many things taken care of, like how it is if you say take up an IT job.
Yeah.
So yeah, but a lot
Well,
of people are choosing, to do this and you know, waiting for inheritance money, I guess.
you've worked with so many different clients, right? Like how you were referring about Amazon, Hotstar, and multiple other organizations. Is it easy to, like how is that artist and client relationship in India? Is it really smooth?
Uh,
How does
so
it go?
so it's never smooth, and the client is going to make you do things that are completely out of your understanding, and also something that you goes against your principles and against your not against your principles, against your creativity and
Mm,
against what you have in. So what I do is I detach myself completely emotionally or creatively from
mm,
the client's work. I'm only focused on when I'm going to get the paycheck. You know, when it comes to that, those kind of clients who don't understand how it's done, because most clients like to take the credit for the work. It's
mm,
very stupid and retarded, mind my language, but it is retarded to tell another creative person that this is how it, I think this will look better. I think that will look better. No, you leave it to the person.
mm,
That's why I have never in the last 10 years ever gotten in touch with a company saying that I do this. Can you give me work? I've never done that. I prefer the client getting in touch with me because they need to have a fair understanding of what I do. Because
mm,
if you get in touch with a client and say this is what I do, they will be like, I don't understand your work, but we want this work from you, or we want that. It's better
mm,
that a client knows what your work is and gets in touch with you.
yeah.
So in spite of that, there will be hundreds of feedback from the office. There'll be like a board member sitting and trying to dissect a creative work, and I have gone past the point where I give a damn. I just don't. You want this? Fine, have it. This is what it's going to cost, and that's about it. You need to be detached when it comes from a client from a corporate client especially. Just give them what they want, take your money, and get lost. That's it. That's the relationship you need to have. You can give them what you feel would work, but after that, they are going to ruin it anyways.
but
So
but isn't it conflicting with your creativity, or let's say with
yeah, it's
your
not my create. Like I said, I do things that I don't enjoy just to put bread on table. So this is one of those things. I I'm not doing any more stand-up comedy for fun. I'm doing it only so that I get paid because I have written some content and I just go half an hour. I just, I mean, the level of, for me to enjoy doing something, I have to be vertically doing exactly what I want. If there's even a single peck of feedback coming from someone else saying that you can't do this, I don't enjoy the whole process. It's just not, you
And
know,
when did you become this kind of, let's say, an artist, where, or a person that now,
yeah.
I'm sure before some time you might be a person who's like fully attached with your art and the projects that you're
Oh,
working
yeah. I have like broken tables and I have thrown things on the wall because, a client asked me to completely change something and things like that. And luckily now my wife handles clients because if I had to handle clients, I don't think I would have successfully gotten till here. She's my calm version who, she filters me out and gives
with.
the brief from my side of things. But I can see even she is losing patience because we do personalize
Hmm.
caricature,
Hmm.
and that's hell dealing with clients because a guy with the long nose is like, why did you make my nose look long? And then we have to explain like he's a child, that this is how it is, things like that. And this is what we do. We have to exaggerate. And we have even stopped exaggerating. I don't even know what I'm doing when it comes to personalized caricatures. The only thing I probably now truly enjoy is making social commentary, for which I get into trouble. So, yeah. Uh, yeah. So that's the thing. So that's the price you pay. If you're going to totally enjoy your work, you will get you will. I really enjoy it when people get offended over things that they shouldn't be. I mean, even when if it's not offensive, that means I have done something amazing. Like if it triggers people, it's great work as long as it's within the morals and ethics of my ethics. I have done something, and if it blows up, that you are bound to get hate. And when I get hate, it's a whole different feeling. It means that okay, this is good work, you know.
Hmm. Yeah.
uh, and yeah, so that's what I enjoy doing, social commentary, talking about global warming. I recently did a lot of book, you know art which has gotten into trouble. And yeah, i think I think that's what I aim for. But yeah, the payback is again corporates are going to look at that and be like, Prasad is getting into too many controversies. Maybe
Yeah.
we shouldn't give him the project.
Yeah.
You know. So I have toned it down, but when I have to, I mean, I'm an artist. What is the point of being an artist if you can't express yourself, especially for the truth?
Yeah.
I think that is the main goal of an artist, to bring out the truth, to reflect life. And if you can't do that, then it's going to kill him from the inside. So, yeah. So, there are things you do for the kitchen, there are things you do for the soul. And you live like that in India, especially. Anywhere, I feel it's going to be difficult being an artist. Anywhere, actually.
Tell me about how do you manage your entire team, and how is the operational
There's
things
no
that.
team. There's no team. It's me, my wife, and another person called Shiva, who's been with us for 7 years. He does all the logistics of shipping, the personalized artwork, framing them, and getting it on time and stuff like that. And that's about it. And then NFTs, it's all me. There's no social media team. There's no Instagram team. It's all us. Can't afford
And
to have another person when you're a freelancer sort of.
and when did you decide you want to jump into the NFT boom and you want to try that out?
Yeah, so this happened when I went to Mumbai for recording, and then I paid 50,000 for a recording to put it up on YouTube to make $100. That's when I was like, wait a minute, this is not making any sense. None of this is making any sense anymore. I mean, I'm getting sad that I didn't get to perform at a show when nobody turned,
Hmm.
you know, things like that. That's when I realized that this is not practical at all. That was the turning point. That's when I was like, no, there's something wrong with this. This whole industry is a mess, and it's going to mess me up. I'm going to get depressed, clinically depressed, and I have a family to take care of. And that's when somebody sent me this link where people made
Hmm.
$69 million. So I was like, okay, this is it. I think I need to just stick to what I'm good at. Maybe it's true. Maybe my jokes are not as funny as people say. Maybe I should just continue doing my art. And it has been amazing. The NFT just embraced me. The whole space has embraced me with such positivity and, hype. And they've really, really made sure that my work goes to all sorts of people. And there are collectors who have displayed my work in Manhattan Square Garden, like on the billboards. And within 5 months, I have made more wealth than I have made in a decade. And I have only lost money in comedy, lost money, lost my mind. And maybe it might work for other people. It hasn't worked for me. And I don't know how it works. So I've chosen this path, and it's been great. I've been mentally very, very stable because these this this is not for someone who's sensitive. Definitely not stand-up comedy. I don't know.
Got it.
Maybe in the future I might give it a shot again, but mostly not. Mostly not.
Got it. This brings me to my last question, and
Yeah,
before we even end the conversation, it's been
yeah.
like a nice, thoughtful last 30 minutes for me to hear from you. So thank you so much for all that you have been sharing in this conversation. But tell me somebody who let's say is deciding to be an artist today, right? I mean,
Okay.
this very day, like imagine I'm an aspiring artist to be in this country. What are some do's and don'ts that you would want to share with me, or any tips that you would want to, or any advice that you would want to give me if
I
I'm
think
starting out
I
today?
think it's I'm no expert. I can only speak from my experience. Is that you need to work as an artist. I would advise other artists to make sure that their work does the talking. uh, their work should speak for themselves and
Hmm.
not them speaking about the work, although that is difficult as we live in the age of clubhouses and Twitter and Instagram, where you have to constantly put yourself out there. But if you're putting yourself out there, completely try to make sure that it's completely your art speaking for you.
Hmm.
And that is a very rare attribute which is fading away
Yeah.
in today's
Yeah.
day and age. Most people are just talking about small wins and not focusing on the war, the final war. So what I mean to say is just concentrate on your work. I think it's a solitary experience, exercise. It's a very solitary exercise to make art.
Hmm.
You have to. making art is not enjoyable if you're trying to make art that's going to move people,
mm,
if it's going to make a difference. It's not going to be easy to get there. It's a lot of hours of sitting in one place and trying to figure out your style, your voice, trying to figure out what you want to express, and to be spot on with what you want to express is stressful. It's a lot of thinking. You have to sit and think, and you have to come up with a plan for yourself. And that's that's very essential. If you want to make people move, art is not easy. It's not going to be enjoyable. If it's for
yeah,
your if it's for your own enjoyment, then don't even put it out there. You know, you are enjoying it, right? At
yeah,
the end of the day, you want validation from the audience.
mm,
So if you're doing something you enjoy and you put it out there and you get validated, like this is good stuff, that's great. But if it has to really move people, if it has to make people go, wow, this is insane, that level of craft is going to be difficult. Is a lot of discipline and a lot of hard work. It's like you going to the gym and your trainer is like lift 20 kgs and you lift it up and you have a smile on your face. You're just lifting it. So that guy will be like, what the hell? Okay, go 50, pick up 50 kgs. You know, he wants to see you struggle.
mm,
Until you push yourself, you're not going to achieve anything. So keep pushing yourself and also worry about your monetary, your finances, you know.
yeah,
And by that I mean, you know, don't just sit at home in your parents' house and make them pay the bills. You need to contribute. You need to figure out how you you move out and figure out how you're going to sustain yourself as an artist. That's only then things will come to you. I mean, you need to have the fire in you every morning to figure out sustainability and to figure out your creative side, means your creative happiness. So that's what I would suggest, and keep at it. You have to keep at it. You cannot uh, take a break. At least,
mm,
like this year is the only time I actually took a break because things were going well with the NFT, and
mm,
I actually for a week I actually took a break mentally, not like went on a vacation.
mm,
I just sat without worrying about what am I going to do, because
mm,
that always runs in an artist's mind to
yeah,
how am I going to live those things. And that is important as well. If you're not going to think about those things, then you're not going to push yourself. So yeah, there is no gain without pain. There is going to be a lot of pain in being phenomenal and outstanding work. If has to come from you, there is going to be a lot of pain and struggle.
got it. Thank you so much, Prasad, for sharing so many
No problem.
unique and
No problem.
insightful things. Uh,
I I'm glad that this happened, and I hope it helps you. And all the best
so
with
how do
everything.
you go from a serious mode of thoughts to doing stand-up comedy? Are you always this serious and very thoughtful, or uh,
Oh, yeah. This is who I am. This is how I am. I don't always keep joking, uh, but yeah, I guess I can put myself in that mode if I have to make jokes or if I have to write jokes. I know that comedian when I was aspiring like really strong to be a stand-up comedian, I would joke all the time, because
hmm,
you want to keep that rhythm going. And my friends would get it. They would be like, "You're trying your jokes on us."
Got it. But no, I'm very sure this entire conversation is going to be very, very helpful to all aspiring
I hope
artists,
so. I
creators.
hope so.
Um, and we
Really hope so.
thoroughly, I think you already must be knowing this, but we thoroughly enjoy your Instagram page and the work that you do. So please keep
Thank you.
doing that. It's
Thank
inspiring
you.
a lot of people. But once again,
Absolutely.
thank you so much for
Thank you,
being here
Pawan.
today. Somehow this 40 minutes of conversation has been very thought provoking for me as well, because since the past few days I have been a little demotivated to be actively creating content or talking about what I'm reading these days and things of that sort. And I think there's just one advice that you have to keep going at it. It's your craft is like going to a gym, and all of these things that Prasad shared with us on this episode today was something that I really needed to hear. If you liked any part of this conversation, please just feel free to share it with your friends on Instagram or on Twitter, or just go ahead, like our show, subscribe to our YouTube channel, or follow this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to this. Please just feel free to DM us directly on Instagram. Pepper Spotlight releases new episode on every Wednesday on all the audio platforms and even on YouTube. So we'll see you again on next Wednesday. But till then, please stay safe, take care, and stay indoors.